But I was thinking of you as we were having this conversation, because there's another sixth grader who wants, sorry.
It's okay. Just letting you wrap that up.
I'm done. I'm manic today.
Good
All right.
evening and welcome to the April 1st, 2026 York School Committee meeting. We will call to order at 6:04 and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Can you read the land acknowledgement?
York is located on the land of the Pennacook and Abenaki peoples of the Wabanaki Confederacy, who have ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to this land. We acknowledge and honor with gratitude the land and the people who have stewarded it through the generations, and we recognize York's responsibility to maintain and protect those homelands for future generations.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No adjustments.
And then we're on to approval of the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Any discussion before we vote? Derek?
Yes.
Marie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to approve the consent agenda. For communications, upcoming meetings and events, April 14th and 16th, we have public tours of the York High School campus. I would also like to thank Heather for her update to our website. It looks great. So there's a little easier navigation and some a spot to sign up if the public is interested in joining us on those tours. It's part of the scope for the reorganization or consolidation plan for the district, but also part of the capital, part of our capital process is to kind of show the parts of the buildings that we're needing updates or repairs, and so that will be a focus of those tours as well. And everyone is welcome. There's a spot on the website to sign up, or you can email the central office.
And what time are those tours taking place?
3 to 4 p.m.
3 to 4?
Yes, that's a good question.
Although the way Tim and I talk, it's usually 4:15,
I was gonna
4:20.
say, I was gonna say.
Get there early and
You have two of the chattier people leading it, so it tends to run over.
Thank you for doing that. I don't see correspondence. Oh, geez, I just lost my page. I don't see any correspondence or recognitions. So on to approval of the financials.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Hey, Rick.
For 5.1, I want to remind those committee members who are do budget liaison meetings that our meeting will be on April the 8th next week, 11 a.m. Until about 12:30 or so, and it'll be at the York High School. For 5.1.1, we have one payroll warrant on March 26, 2026, in the amount of $1,161,308.19, requesting your approval.
I move to approve a total APM payroll in the amount of $1,161,308.19.
I second.
Great. Any discussion before you vote on AP and payroll? All right, Derek.
Yes.
Marie.
Yes.
Rick.
yes.
Meg.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to approve total AP and payroll in the amount of $1,161,308.19.
I have no donations to report, and this concludes my report.
Thanks. You guys are meeting at the high school?
Yes.
Okay.
We've entered into a practice where we're moving those budget liaison meetings to individual schools.
We rotate.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's nice. The little chairs at Village were fun.
Did you hop on one of the bikes?
No, we didn't have the bikes then. We went
Maybe for younger people, but not,
Not for you.
not for me.
All right, on to reports. Chair's report, I don't really have much of a report this evening. I've just been in the, mid-year swing. Went to the art show. That was pretty great. Went to the variety show.
Yeah, variety show was great. Game of Life was great in 4th grade. Ellen was a fabulous MC, and it was her birthday.
Yes, it was. Had a
It
crown
was a
and
big
everything.
celebration in 4th grade that whole day.
It was a really fun time. It was awesome. We had how many parents do you think we had?
A lot.
50?
A lot.
Really?
I want to say at least 30. At least 30.
Yeah.
But it was great. I have a picture, that I took of all the parent volunteers. There was different stations for everybody. It was a really fun day. The kids were super engaged. They were doing math. They had their outfits on. It was a great time. So thank you to you as well as all the other parents who volunteered. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
I will add, I should have said it during upcoming events, but Odyssey of the Mind state competition is this Saturday. There's, I think, 13 teams ranging from kindergarten through 8th grade who are going to be competing. They've been working since November on their problems and their skits and everything. So we will be spending the day up at Edward Little High School, which is gorgeous if you have not seen it. It is quite impressive. So that'll be fun. And then if teams place first or second there, they have the opportunity to go to World Finals, which will be in Iowa this year.
Wow.
That's a drive.
States are a lot of fun. And worlds are
Insane.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the all the cultures from everywhere. I mean, and the support from each country for each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the cheers, like when the Polish team comes in, everyone goes wild. It is quite the event.
Yeah, it's very cool. Last year, our team went to Worlds, and we were paired with a team from Korea, and they exchanged gifts with each other and played games together. We were in the same dorm together, and so you truly, that whole time, get paired with a team from another country, and the kids just all get to hang out and like really learn different cultures. It's awesome. So that's it.
Thank you. I didn't really have a report, so that's my report.
So we do have a few resignations. Michael Healy, Special Education Technician at York Middle School. Christy Perry, Educational Technician at Crest. And Monica Fuller, our BCBA position at Crest. She'll be ending at the end of the year. We do have some retirements. Karen Connolly, Food Service Manager at Vest. Denise Paisley, Educational Technician at Crest. And Trish Stockless, Education Technician at Crest. No transfers. We do have one new hire. We found a volleyball coach for the high school, Dina Martin.
Thank you.
Nice.
Any,
So I can go right into the additional items. Radon testing has been completed. We do have a few areas in the high school, and it's centered around the YCA, the newer additions that were put in place. Those are the scores that come in at a 4. A 4 is a level of action. So if anything's under 4, then you should be fine. 4 or more, you have a level of action. So those rooms come in under a 4. So there was a kind of a closet area between band and chorus. The whole YCA set up, the YCA manager's office, which has no ventilation, no air circulation unit, which is probably why classrooms next door are fine because they're moving air. So we had really done a good job with this, I believe. We got out ahead of it. The state law says that testing should take place. They will post our results to the media, but there is nothing in the law about mitigation. Totally up to schools if they want to mitigate or not. We did get in contact with Honeywell, one of the companies that we're looking at. They've had some changeover in employees, which is kind of backlogging things, but they'll come in and adjust the air handling system at the YCA, and then we will retest to make sure that we're under the 4. Can't quite remember what the test was, but I don't think anything was higher than a 6. There's been some industry models out there in the 50s and the 100s. So there's probably more radon from what the state tells us. We did talk to the state kind of coordinator, expert on radon. Radon is a cancerous causing gas that over time, 25 to 30 years of exposure and up to 8 hours a day of exposure that could probably lead to issues. Although that's fine, I just think we still should be mitigating and getting down to the acceptable levels, especially for a public building. I haven't found out yet, but I do believe Herman was the architect. Most new structures in Maine, they've had a new structure, especially a new school, came with a built-in radon mitigation system in the plans. So I'm not sure. It doesn't sound like the YCA extension had that. which is interesting because it was about 2017 construction, so that's not too far away. But there are some new schools that were built at the same time that all had mitigation system by law. So I don't know what happened, but it's fine. We're going to get it mitigated through air exchange, so.
So we don't have to do any construction? You don't think we have to like add anything?
Right now, that's the piece. We're going to try to mitigate through air exchange, and pretty much that's what the state told us that all their schools have done. The subterranean mitigation will be costly. That's where you do go underground and mess with the flooring of the building, but we don't know that yet, but it's part of our ongoing work that we're doing with this, so. I got to commend Heather and I sat down and worked on communication piece with this. We did meet with the principal and the building coordinators in each of the buildings. And we had them go over it, the site work, where they are, the rooms, and then, of course, the letter that went out. Coastal Ridge and Village, absolutely no level 4s at all. And the middle school was just a few subterranean rooms, server room, Dave's office, that's all below ground that got hit. There was no classrooms, no common spaces, just storage and that server room. So we'll have to still mitigate those as best we can. It's going to be hard to mitigate that server room if you've seen it on a tour. It'd be hard to get air through there, but it's old.
Little vault.
Yeah, it's an old vault. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, it went as best as it could. We did the testing. I think we should be proud of that. And everyone was always worried about the radon, but it came back that the results were pretty good. So, and the state does provide those to the media. They provided them probably 5 days before our results came back. So. But there are some schools that have got some high numbers.
I guess my question around the like expense of it is, obviously we've already finished our budget for this year, and it would be something that we wouldn't want to wait till next year. So my understanding was if there is some health and safety risk, we can ask for it to be on the November vote, like an off-cycle budget if it's an expensive project.
Yeah, that we discussed that a little bit, you and I, that if it's something to do with safety, maybe we could get on a November vote. We also have our current 5% across the cost centers, and we have a facilities reserve account that we shouldn't be afraid to use, because this is exactly what could happen,
Right.
At the end of the year, we have this issue, we might be thousands of dollars, then I think we have something to turn to, so.
Yeah, I guess my thought is if it's more than like, if it reaches like a capital threshold where it would need
Yeah.
to be something that goes through capital planning, if it was more than like, what is it, $25,000?
Because it would be an emergency, it does not have to go through capital planning. And
Okay.
this, of course, the designation of what an emergency is at the superintendent's discretion. We would obviously consult about that, but I have addressed this issue with the town
Okay.
about those type of issues that may arise.
Okay.
And you said after the mitigation, then retest. Who covers the cost? Does the state provide that? Or that's back on us?
Yeah, great question. So the test was initially done by the state. If there was any outliers, they call them, and they want to retest, if there's a need for a retest, we had to pay for the retest. So the last number I was given on the retest was $8,000. And this whole thing cost about $45,000. The state paid the $45,000, but $8,000 was us, so.
We've already retested or we will retest?
We already retested.
Okay.
And that's how we know. There were some outliers. I think they really felt the auditorium was an outlier, but it came back.
It was
Pretty-
confirmed.
Yeah, it was confirmed, yeah. And when we mitigate, I think it's up to us, but I did find out that it doesn't need to be a company. We could actually buy a kit and retest ourselves. It is no different. We all thought it was different for commercial space. It is no different than testing in your home or a commercial space with a test. So that was interesting, because that was our thinking before, that commercial space must be different, but we were told it's no different.
I feel like you probably learned a lot about radon recently. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because none of us committed these jobs thinking we're going to be dealing with radon, right?
Right.
So I can't remember the college course I took on radon, but it's But I did have some experience. My son bought a house and he had to put a mitigation system in. So I had a little experience with that. But yeah, I, from what we were told, we did a really good job with this. So
All right, so
last day of school. So we had a few parents, not a lot, call and just want to know if we're going to solidify what that last day is going to be. I don't know if we have a copy of the calendar.
I can put it in.
yeah, we do. I'm sure.
I don't know if I saw it, but
I mean, I can grab it.
I can put it in the agenda.
yeah.
2 seconds.
I think we got 2 snow days and 2 remotes.
We only have 2. No.
We have 2 snow days, real snow days, and 2 remote days.
Yeah, 2 remote days,
Okay. Probably more than that.
which would put the official end of school, Derek.
It is April. We could have one more.
It was right
That's
here,
true.
right? So now it's the 18th.
Knock on wood, sir.
So that would put us on a Thursday, the 18th. Which is up
So it would have been
before the holiday.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope we turn the corner. Friday looked a little suspicious, but it's going to be rain here, so hoping we're done with that, you know?
Well, if we do have another snow day, that's when I think we should talk about the last day of school.
Yep. And luckily, we had that luxury of 3 extra student days that we could work with. And I think when we get to that bridge, we'll cross it and decide what to do, so.
'Cause it's a big deal to go into the following week. Okay. Anything else?
So June 18th is the official end, unless Mother Nature gets her way. But if I can use remotes, we're you know, it's the Monday morning stuff that's hard to do.
Right. All right.
Okay,
Anything else? All right.
pre-K.
Thank you. All right. Dr. Schulich? you have
Yes,
a-
my time today, I am going to ask Jay Delahanty, principal at Village Elementary School, to come up and present on. We've been having a few conversations about this, definitely started during budget season. But again, this conversation is really around responding to our current needs and how we can best utilize staff and what to do for next year's staffing at Village Elementary School. So I'll let you take it, Jay.
Thanks for having me. Probably not too surprised. I did kind of try to front load this quite a bit with you, that we get a lottery of pre-K, which will respond to the student population. What has happened is we have lower kindergarten registration numbers than we have typically had. Our current number is about 82. That being said, we have 6 current kindergarten teaching positions that we're going to talk about going down to 5 and taking that teaching position and putting it into the pre-K, because we have 45, possibly 48 actually already for pre-K, and that'll be a full boat. So as I've told you, we need to respond to what people are saying in the public, and we have people saying that they would like to have pre-K. And we have the opportunity without pulling in a new position to do that. So it feels like a pretty clean and easy answer to say, reduce this, place it over here where we have a need. I've had conversations with Chris Barabo. They have a vacancy for an ed tech position. We have to have the ratio of 2 to 1 in there. Well, two staff members per 16. So it's still a zero cost to the district that we can reallocate that, make it a general ed tech position. And because it's a vacancy, it's straightforward. So hoping me saying as simply as it sounds here makes it a pretty clean and easy answer from y'all. But what I'm saying we should be doing based on our kindergarten numbers and our pre-K numbers is that we pivot that teaching position from kindergarten to pre-K. And then Chris Barabo will talk about the details about that special ed tech shifting into general ed to cover that ratio.
I think the only potential concern that we have moving forward, and looking at the current numbers for kindergarten, but also looking at the enrollment study that we had done, I think the enrollment study said 90 or 92 was sort of what was projected, is that if we do have 10 or 15 kids, essentially a classroom of kids move into the district over the summer, then we're going to have to
For
pivot.
kindergarten.
And we
For
looked at,
kindergarten,
For
yes.
kindergarten.
Yeah.
We looked at a
Then we might have
ratio
to
of-
pivot a little bit. But we've already guaranteed a spot to these pre-K families
For
pre-K
2
spot.
classes.
to have 3 total.
48.
We've guaranteed that
that's what I'm asking you right now.
We have yes, so it's like right now we have 2 classes, right? Like we know that we can fill 30 2 spots.
Yep.
Jay is thinking, could we, given the low numbers in kindergarten this year, we allocate a kindergarten teacher to pre-K, and then we would allow more students to come in to pre-K. But then there's always the unnerving part of it is, what if we get more kindergarten kids in the summer that we did not anticipate?
I can say that I already have a plan in the school for the housing the students for that kindergarten class is not a problem. I already have a plan for that, so if that did happen and we needed to bring in an additional kindergarten class, that's not an issue whatsoever. Because we're reducing from 6 to 5, the resources are already there, tables, chairs, like the basics. So it isn't like we're gonna have a big, huge, and it's not restarting. It would be talking about, do we need an additional teacher if that happened?
Right.
And that's ratio, we talked about 16 was kind of the middle, the target. If we get over 17 per classroom, that's when it starts getting hairy, having 18 in a classroom for that kindergarten group. That's the part would get me pretty nervous. I'd probably be coming back for a conversation about that because we want to make sure that kids aren't overloaded in those rooms.
So right now, if we go down to 5, that is 16 kids per class.
Yep.
So we don't really have any wiggle room of if any more kids come.
No, we do, it's 17 per class would be
I think that
okay.
we would be,
So we can have 5 kids move, 5
the
unexpected.
policy
additions.
says target 16, window 16 to 18. If we
18.
end up with 18 in most classrooms, I think that we would hear some concerns.
Okay.
Because that is a lot of action,
Wiggly bobbies.
a lot of action in a kindergarten classroom.
So the wait list has been consistent though, right? For
Yes.
pre-K?
Yep, a full class has basically been,
This is year 2
Yep.
of a whole class. Year 1, I think, when we first started, people understood. This year, I did get a lot of phone calls about,
Right, well, the
can't get
lottery
in,
is
can't get
tough,
in, so.
yeah.
So this is the second year of consistent numbers of being at least a full class.
And I've seen kids that aren't gonna go to school. Like, that's
Yeah.
part of what happens here. Some kids don't access preschool for family needs, and just based on the lottery, they aren't in the selection. That's not a good setup for them coming in the following year with no school experience. So all students get a better benefit if these kids get to come in and be in a classroom. And
Oh, sure. You
Yeah.
won't get any argument from me about the need for pre-K. I just want to make sure that we're not flexing to answer just a 1-year type of.
And we can always flex back, I mean, we can move, anybody with right now, a pre-K to 3, an early elementary credential, we could flexibly move staffing-wise. And I mean, we're doing it at Coastal Ridge this year, moving 3rd and 4th grade teachers to 2nd grade because that's a larger group. And we should do that, right? Like, we should respond to those needs. But it does get a little tricky because pre-K is a different certification, and there's only so many people in the district that have it.
So what would you need for a split classroom setup for another pre-K class?
there's a grant already written, so I don't need any money right now for that. We're able to outfit that classroom and renovate the other. There's some materials they got a couple years ago that they would like to adjust some of the stuff they have in the room. I've already talked with the 2 pre-K teachers about helping fill out what we could do to outfit a brand new room plus kind of fix up theirs. So no cost to the district on that either.
Okay.
I just want to add a piece. We picked up a room though, right, Jay? You have room to do this.
We have
Yeah.
physical space.
Yeah,
yes.
I have space for that.
Because that was an issue too before.
Yep.
It was. That's why we went with 2
Right.
rooms, right?
That's
Because-
right.
yeah.
But we reduced a first
So
grade
right now with-
classroom this year.
Yep, because there's 7 first grade. It's going on to 6 next year as that class shifts up to Coastal Ridge. So that was 1 coming back, and now we are going down to 5 in kindergarten. That's another room. So we do have space for that.
So what you're saying is if we potentially we needed to add another kindergarten classroom.
good.
There's a first grade classroom that
Yep,
is currently, that would be vacant. Okay.
exactly.
She would be a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And sorry if I misunderstood, for pre-K, is there still a wait list or you've absorbed everybody who asked for pre-K?
If I get told we can't do this, then we're gonna have a whole class of kids that won't access our pre-K, and some of those kids won't go to preschool.
Right.
So based on the
right now,
lottery.
having the 3 means you can anyone who's asked for pre-K, you can say yes.
Right now, yeah.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
Well, up to 16.
No, right now, we cover the number. Based on the people that responded to the pre-K lottery,
Yeah.
the total there, I can cover with 3
Oh,
classrooms.
okay.
Yep.
But that's our issue before was 16, that's why, so.
I mean, we have families moving over the summer. I mean, we've closed the
Right.
lottery because we're going based on our town population. If someone comes in over the summer, but,
We can have 48
yep.
if we do the
And
3
we're at
classrooms.
what, 42?
I have 45, I could have as many as 48, I have a few parents I need to talk with.
You have 45 right now?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Meg. Yep, you're good.
48 is the max
Yeah.
that we could
That's-
hold
yeah.
with 3 classrooms.
It could be at 48 already, because I have a few parents I need to speak with about, because there's other situations I have to address that I won't get into
The
here.
piece we need to remember is in the budget process, and when it ended, now we know the final numbers after the budget process. So to me, it's an emergency, right? And that's why we use our reserve accounts. We have a reserve account for cost center 1. Now, maybe we can work through our 5% rule, but at the end of the year, if we're down, then we have to take from the reserve. This is after we kind of gave okay on the budgets, right? This came up after. So if we'd have known this,
I would have
hard numbers, we'd have come to the budget committee with that number in the budget, so.
You mean we didn't know how many kids were gonna
Right.
be on the wait list?
Exactly.
And I'm curious, like, just some of like the rumblings that I've heard about town is the lottery was so difficult that I'm wondering, like, if that even really captures all of the need for pre-K, or if people are just not even putting their name
It's the first time I've heard
It's
that.
fair.
in the lottery.
That was pretty fair.
I mean, it's tough and not knowing. I think it's probably the hardest
Right.
part. I mean, having young kids, I get if you don't know where your kid's going to be next year, you got to make plans. It's preschool. Like that is very stressful. So I think the lottery process is pretty simple, but knowing if you're in or out, I bet is really difficult
Yes.
and stressful.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm saying it the same way, but that's, yeah.
Right, because it's hard to find.
It's pretty like registering your kid for school. You got to have the proof of residency and those sorts of things.
Right.
I guess it's just, for clarity's sake, if we, in the summer, Jay picks up, our village picks up more kindergarten, then we'll have to hire a kindergarten teacher. Because right now, with this
And, like,
move, there
this
is,
goes- this
there's
goes
no
back to the-
needed.
This goes back to and I want to be really careful because this was like a very sticky point when we were talking about adding pre-K. There was some conversation around like, it's not cost neutral. It's not a no cost, because the other thing that we would do is we would reduce the teaching position. So it like, just to be aware that there is cost to it, in that we're not reducing a K teacher in response to the reduced numbers to go down to 5th grade. We're creating a new position, so we're still responsible for that salary versus not having to pay a teacher. So just to
That's
be-
fair. Like
to
that would be the
clear,
case.
Like that was quite a conversation when we started pre-K, because that's how we staffed it initially, was
Through reduction.
through
in staff.
reductions. So the conversation really, just for clarity, is it doesn't add expense, but it maintains an expense. We are still keeping a position in the budget that we otherwise, if we didn't have pre-K, wouldn't be paying for.
I think what I've been trying to, go ahead, sorry.
No, I don't want that to sound not supportive for pre-K, but I just want to like be clear that is like financially how it actually shakes out.
I'm just trying, I know that pre-K got brought in as a separate entity almost, ECSC. I see all these things, and I'm trying hard to make sure that pre-K is part of our district. I'm trying to make sure it's just this is YSD now. And so I'm trying to be a little more talking about it as a single entity.
Right.
Because you're 100% right. And I remember hearing about it initially, and it is sold as a zero cost to districts, but then they're your employees. Like, I think that the framing of it is really important, that we are paying these people to educate our kids. That's 100% true. So that ed tech, it's a position that we already have available. That isn't, it's something we already budgeted for. The teacher, we already budgeted for. So not a zero cost, but a cost we've already accounted for, I guess is a better way to put it.
Right. So it's not additive to the budget, but it is a position that we will maintain in our budget going forward. Yeah.
Should the need continue.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do think that longitudinally, when we've talked about like the real benefit of pre-K, besides just the obvious benefit for children, is we've started to see that there is benefit to the district by having kids have access to learning
Early
prior
intervention.
prior to kindergarten, having kids' needs assessed and evaluated and met before they enter kindergarten. So.
Oh, I don't know if this is important to bring up as well, Jay, is that we also have, I think part of the increased need is also due to preschools in town.
I can revisit.
Retirements.
We have 2 retirements and 1 with significant reduction, because they're changing kind of the face of what they're doing a little bit. So without them available, one is retiring, I think it's this year. I don't have my list in front of me. But in that case, I also don't want to be looked at like we're taking kids out of
Exactly.
businesses. Like that is definitely not my goal in this case. But I do worry knowing that some of these kids won't access school without this opportunity. That puts all the kids in a worse position because you have this kid coming in disrupting things a little bit because they're learning the group playing. It's tough. So hopefully we can catch them a little bit earlier.
Wasn't the comment from one of the retirements that she was holding off on retiring until pre-K was in place to make sure that she wasn't dropping any kids? So
Yeah, and we have good programming, so we're in a good position to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that, Jay and I were able to articulate that, we're not taking students away from other opportunities, but there is an increased need because opportunities in town or around town are decreasing.
Well, I think that also answers my question too, to some extent of like, is this a trend that we're gonna keep seeing? So if we're absorbing the students from those pre-Ks that are closing,
And I guess we would only let
Theoretically, we would
people communicate with us that there is, in some cases, there's a plan to, have somebody else take over that business, which is wonderful. And then in other cases, there might not be. And so it really is a matter of us, and Jay, you do a good job with this, is communicating with the preschools in town.
Thanks.
thank you. Any other questions for Jay? Questions in general about pre-K?
If you want to come take a look at what they look at, we're going to be shifting rooms and stuff for next year, and you'll see what we're doing to make pre-K even better. So there's a lot of good stuff going on.
I'd love that. I want to ride the bikes.
You can come on by.
We wanted to give you the information tonight, and the next April meeting, we'll vote on this. How's that?
That way, if other questions come up in the meantime.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Great, thank you.
Pleasure.
See ya.
Thank you.
But our student reps are not here
I
tonight.
feel like I do want to follow up on one of our last meetings.
Okay.
There was a presentation for a field trip that I invited myself to, and we went to MIT yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fantastic. So our students, Christine Caprio from Pathways All Alternative Education Program and Corinne Monaco, I believe, presented about this trip to MIT. It's part of their interdisciplinary curriculum around, bringing together science, math, the arts, language, English language arts. And so yesterday we went to MIT and we did a workshop for 90 minutes. And students, they learned about the lab equipment, so ring stands, burettes, and then what they ended up doing was this whole flash photography lesson, and they had to build, using 3D pens, some sort of material and design of the material to repel water, and then they were able to use a high-speed camera to catch water droplets in action and how they moved, and it was incredibly fun. And then the students got to walk around the museum and see the exhibit that was there on sort of the combination between light and art and biology, and it was super inspiring and a wonderful day. So I wanted to say thank you again for supporting that on behalf of York High School, and it was a really great opportunity for our students.
Awesome.
You were very excited about
I was, and it delivered.
Thank you. I didn't mean to cut off your report before you were done. Is that everything?
Yep.
Okay. So no student reps tonight. So on to current openings.
So, I mean, as you can read this, I just told you about the resignations with the ed techs, and then we do have a physical therapy and a speech language pathology position for special ed that has opened up.
All right.
Otherwise than that, it's still the same, so.
All right. I don't see anyone for public comment. So on to new business for policies.
All right, so this first one, ACAB, most of these on our list tonight, these 6 are all required policies. A couple at the end aren't, but this is one that's required. Some of the language that changed, like for instance, in the definition section for gender expression, it was changed to match what's in other policies so that is consistent. I think it's in, I forget which other one. AC maybe.
I think it also kind of simplified the descriptions too. Instead of
Yeah.
a lot of unnecessary adjectives.
It was more like holistic, inclusive of what we want that to, how we want that to read.
Okay.
Anything else? I'll move it. I'll move to move policy ACAB to a second read.
I second.
Okay, any discussion on policy ACAB before we vote? All right, Derek,
Yes.
Marie,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Meg.
Yes.
Votes yes 5-0 to move policy ACAB harassment and sexual harassment of school employees to a second read. All right, on to DJH.
Yeah, so purchasing and contracting, procurement, staff code of conduct, and so this was another one of the required ones. And again, it was like choosing some better language, where you can see kind of the bold and the underlined. And then there might have been one question down at Roman numeral 4. Just making sure that that feels okay for the committee and for the district.
It's just referring it to the
It's referring it to the R procedure, okay.
procedure.
Everyone's satisfied. I'll move to move policy DJH to a second read.
I second.
Any more discussion on policy DJH before we move it to a second read? Okay, Derek,
Yes.
Marie,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Meg.
Yes.
Votes yes 5-0 to move policy, did I say the wrong thing? DJH.
Yeah.
I see G, sorry, I think I was looking at G. DJH to a second read. All right, on to DN.
Yep.
I remember this one, man, how'd this one come back already? This is,
So,
tough.
right, about kind of what
that,
to
there was a reason.
okay,
Policy we didn't have and should have had, and now it's on the rotation.
okay, because I'm like, I just lived this
Yes.
one, okay.
Yes.
Okay, you remember this, Derek?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the max.
It was it was the mats.
Yep.
The wrestling mats.
Yes.
right, so like what to do with things that we
Don't need anymore.
potentially no longer need anymore. Yeah, and how to navigate that and procedurally with the superintendent.
Looks like no major changes.
No.
I'll move to move policy DN to a second read.
I second.
Try to remember. Trying to remember this. Sorry, I hadn't finished reading through it. All right, any more discussion on policy DN, school property disposition before we move, or before we move to a second read? All right, Derek,
Yes.
Marie,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Meg.
Yes.
Chair votes yes 5-0 to move policy DN, school properties disposition to a second read.
So we had, it was the admin procedure we didn't have. That's, I had that wrong.
So then EBBD is required and it's new.
Okay.
This is about the temperature standards in the buildings. So you'll see, like their actual, the second paragraph, like there are numbers, minimum of 68, maximum of 82, which we talked about a little bit, but I think that was what was the recommended temperature range, right?
Pretty much.
And just kind of acknowledging in here too, and in our discussions that like the environment, temperature included, is really impactful for everyone in terms of its instruction and learning. So that this is really important. And just to kind of connect it to, I guess, to other things that are going on, like taking care of our buildings and heating and cooling, and having that working properly is actually all part of this.
And just to point out that the 68 to 82 is the optimal comfort zone, but there's also still an allowance for when it goes 5 degrees over that, which means we're talking 87 degrees in a classroom, which can't really be conducive to studying.
It only goes over. It doesn't make a cooling. I love a
Why-
70-degree room, but I like 68 seems warm to me. I'm not arguing. I'm just.
62, I mean, if
So
it
can it
goes-
go? That's what I mean. Like, is the 5 degrees only for over,
Nope.
or does it go in both directions?
It's either way.
Okay, because it says exceed the maximum comfort zone by 5. So it should say, then if that's the case, it should say minimum or maximum comfort zone. Because this seems to only refer to the heat.
Yeah, I
See
think
what I mean?
that, because that's just the more likely issue to run into that, I don't think anyone's ever complained about the classrooms, or I don't, has anyone ever complained
If
about
we
classrooms
lost
being
heat
cold?
or something
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
in the
Then
winter.
when would we just, then
Yeah.
when would we
Furnace
send
goes
kids
down.
home? Right.
Yep.
We have a water line break. They strongly recommend that we don't cancel school
Right.
or early dismissal, but hopefully, well, we won't have it for this summer, but the following summer with a new system, if the voters approve it in the middle school, this would definitely help us here. You know, I think it's just common sense. We wouldn't, if classrooms got below 60 degrees,
Right, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, though, the policy doesn't spell that out. I'm just curious if we want it.
no, I think it leaves that determination up to school administration and the superintendent to
Okay.
decide if they're gonna,
So you
almost
would
like a
prefer-
snow day, right?
So
It's,
you would prefer to not have the 5 degrees refer to the low temperature, just to,
no, I don't mind that. There, a lot of schools have put that language in.
I mean, you could just take out maximum from that
Right.
What-
sentence,
yeah,
this.
so it'd be like occupied spaces, what's the, temperature varies more than 5 degrees from the,
Like outside of the comfort zone,
right,
for the temperature standard.
Well, I think the original intent was if it reaches 82, but let's say it goes to 85, 3 more than 82, then there's a list of things we should do. If it goes to 88, there's another list of things. They really don't want us to let kids out of school, but it's miserable, can't learn, you know, you
yeah, no,
can go outside and it's still gonna be, you know, it's,
I'm not-
and normally it's when we get good 3 days of heat that the building kind of, but I think the original intent of that was to tier it, to say, so if it's 82 and it goes up 3 more degrees to 85, move all kids from the top floor to the second floor and combine classroom. That's what they want us to do, sort of, so. I think with our, well, it won't work for the summer, but the cooling system,
I'm wondering if this
worry
should,
about
I wonder if this is just like a maximum temperature standard then, because it doesn't really build in
Yeah.
standards for heat, for cooling.
Right, I mean,
for
I can,
everything.
I can circle back to this also.
Yeah.
Because I think the cold, that is a risk.
Right,
If it's 50,
totally.
right, so I feel like it's maybe just this phrasing. Or other occupied spaces exceed the maximum comfort zone by 5.
Right, because it doesn't really spell out any ways to relieve extreme cold. It's only just like how to.
Right.
Yeah.
So like if it goes below 60, what was it?
3.
63, then
yeah,
have to send kids home.
I mean,
But yeah, we wouldn't, it's not like
think
we
your
would have
house is right.
space heaters or
65
extra
is
sweaters or anything. It would be,
Oh, it's crossed
Yeah, I
out.
was gonna say, the paragraph that addresses cold is crossed out.
On cold days when building and classroom temperatures hover near the minimum, schools are encouraged to incorporate more opportunities for physical activity. Oh, well, and having layers. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe just ask
Routine.
Julie to,
Yeah.
what she thinks about
Put that
that.
back in.
I don't know why this family responsibility is landing so hard for me, but I'm like,
You know, if you weren't comfortable with this 5-degree thing, you could say 65 and 85.
it's not the 5 degrees that I'm
Right.
not comfortable
Oh.
with. It's the way that it's written. It only addresses if it's hotter.
Oh, yeah.
Then-
I'll get you.
The maximum, not the
but-
minimum.
But so we set a minimum, and like, what do you do if it goes 5 degrees below the minimum? There's no instruction for it, and that's what I was just saying. It's like it's
I
crossed
almost
out.
think, in most people's thinking, cold is worse than heat. So if it goes below where it's cold, you gotta have Jack, and we probably wouldn't have school. If he called me up and said, we just lost our heating system, we think it's been down for 5 hours, the building's at 60 degrees dropping, we're gonna not have school. But if it's 80 degrees, we probably still would have school, and then we'd decide what to do, but, yeah, it's a good point, Julie. I mean, nothing wrong with going back and
Yeah,
rewording it
tweaking it.
either, so.
I think also that, there's a possibility that we could lose heat, but, and have a cold classroom, but we know it's gonna get warm in the spring and the fall.
Right.
Those are just situations we're more likely to come across.
So the note in here, it says, it sounds like it just doesn't require us to send kids home, which is what you're saying. Like, we have to like start instituting these other measures to keep them comfortable. And then
Right.
considering sending them home or rescheduling exams, things like that. Okay.
I'm gonna say it's nice to have the numbers,
Yeah.
65 to 80, whatever you choose, but it's nice because we've lived where we had no numbers and just we would go into the building and read the thermometers and say, okay, no, nothing's good here, so let's go home. Or no school tomorrow, or,
Which is ironic, because then the school day would just get added on in June.
that's all it does, it gets added on.
It's even more odd.
But they talk about mom and dad working and not being home, and,
Yeah.
it's just,
Okay, so we'll address all that in the second read.
Yes.
I was just wondering, paragraph C, you have two new subparagraphs here. Just what was the thought process?
Which one, Derek?
Paragraph C 2 and 3.
Oh, well, it was trying to align between Village and Crest, agreeing about, because they have a number standard for if they let the kids outside or not.
Okay.
And for recess. And so it was just deciding cooperatively whether they were gonna do that or not. I don't think it's much past that.
Okay.
Just
I think
divide.
it's just that it could be different temperature thresholds depending on, all Vest and Crest kids go outside for recess. High school doesn't. Middle school, it's an option. So I think that's why that separation occurred.
Okay.
but you could have ski practice, let's say, right? And it's 10 below, with the wind, it's 20, you probably wouldn't wanna. Normally, if it's anything below 0 is when people start to, not counting the wind, just 0 degree.
Also say time of day might matter. So if elementary kids are going out early in the morning, the temperature might be different than
And I think they actually use the real feel.
they do.
Yeah, so like the wind, the whatever is important.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Derek.
I move to move policy EBBD to a second read.
I second.
Any more discussion before we vote on moving EBBD? Temperature standards.
And I believe it goes back to second read to look at the wording with high and
Yeah,
low?
just some
low?
clarification around
Yeah.
the cold range and whether or not we need that paragraph back in.
Okay.
All right, Derek,
Yes.
Marie,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Meg.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to move policy EBBD, temperature standards for schools, to a second read. All right, on to FF, naming of facilities. Also feels like we just did this one.
Yeah. I think this one came up with the track and field discussion.
Okay.
Did.
This is the,
I referenced this recently as well.
did you?
Yeah, so there, this probably looks super familiar, and it's really about the naming of facilities and giving us some guidance around how or how not to, and I think also potentially changing names, being able to rename or dename.
Right.
Is there any changes to it?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It was robustly discussed.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
What was it? The Chris. What's
Chris Cassidy?
The Chris Cassidy. This is
Clause,
the Chris
yeah.
Cassidy clause.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember this.
If anyone
You
doesn't
don't?
know, that is
Maybe
York
you
High
weren't.
School alumni who is an astronaut. That's why he gets his own clause.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he actually doesn't. I think is where we
Well,
landed.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion on policy FF?
I move to move policy FF to a second read.
I second.
All right. Any discussion before we vote? Derek?
Yes.
Catching the
Marie?
revision.
Yes.
Yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to move policy FF, naming of facilities, to a second read. All right, and then on to job descriptions, policy GAB.
Yeah, and this one is really short, and it's just the tiny wording at the bottom, but this one really is in an effort to ensure non-discriminatory hiring. But it's probably, there aren't really changes, so this probably looks very familiar.
I move to move policy GAB to a second read.
I second.
Any more discussion for policy GAB? All right,
Transportation coordinator.
Derek?
Yes.
Marie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
What was
Meg.
the other one that?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to move policy GAB, job descriptions, to a second read. Thank you very much. That's all the policy I see. I don't see any unfinished business. Any other matters? No.
All
Good. All right. That brings us to adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Wonderful. Any discussion before we vote? Derek?
Yes.
Marie?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 5-0 to adjourn at 6:56.